Thank you for being with us for this dedication ceremony to open Agenstein Hall. It's sort of continues a theme that we've been talking about in recent months called The Beat Goes On, because there have been a number of great things happening at Western over the past year or so. Even despite the budget reductions that we've had and everything, we've still been able to open new facilities and have new awards won and so forth. So we kind of begin to refer to that as, and the beat goes on, and today's just another example. I like to tell people, and I say it so much, I feel like it's become more of a PR slogan, but we really believe that at Missouri Western, reality is well ahead of reputation, and this building takes another step forward in providing the very best for our students and our faculty, and we think that it will certainly help enhance that reputation and quality as we move forward. For those of you who don't know, Agenstein Hall was one of the original buildings, built in 1969. And since that time, enrollment in the programs that are in this building has tripled. And it was becoming very crowded and parts of it becoming dated. So this is certainly a welcome development. And then it brings us to this point, which was today, was the first day of classes in the newly renovated Agenstein Hall. So our students now benefit with the addition of Remington Hall and the renovation of this building of 120,000 square feet of state-of-the-art science and math instructional space. Isn't that great? And that truly is remarkable for an institution this size. This building has an emphasis in it of both the classroom instruction and student faculty research. There are a number of research labs in this building and everything, so that, as most of you know, part of our mission at Missouri Western is applied learning. And one of the most popular ways of doing applied learning is the faculty student research projects. And this building was built with those projects in mind, so that they would have the right facilities to work with. In addition to this building, you may not be aware, but the contributions allowed us to also purchase some equipment. Actually, what happened, we got $30.1 million from the state through the Lewis and Clark Discovery Fund, and private contributions of another $5 million. That meant the construction project was in that $35 million range. We also got private contributions of $1 million for scientific equipment, and we're over 2/3 of the way to the goal of $1.5 million endowment to help continue to support that equipment and so forth. So we're very pleased with that. We have a number of people that I would like to acknowledge before we get started. And first of all, I have kind of acknowledged them already, and we're not calling them by name or anything like that here today. But obviously, in addition to the state, we certainly want to acknowledge all of the generous people who made private contributions to the funds toward this project, because it could not have happened, obviously, at least to the fullest extent, without their help. In addition to that, some other acknowledgments I'd just like to mention before we really kind of get started. First of all, the faculty, staff, and students that will be using this building the most spent a lot of their Christmas break moving in. And so I think they need to be acknowledged for their personal effort and everything. I'd ask you to acknowledge their work. And I would also tell you that the staff at our Instructional Media Center have really been working hard through breaks and so forth, including yesterday's break, to make sure that all of the technical equipment was getting hooked up and ready to go. And we certainly appreciate their help, as well as that of the West Campus staff, who then had to come in here in the last few days and try to get the place all spruced up and ready to go, and we'll be maintaining. And again, I'd ask you to acknowledge those staff people for their work. Some introductions that I would like to make. First of all, we have 3 representatives of the Board of Governors here, and I'd ask them just to stand so that you can see who they are. If you 3 would just please stand, and thank you. We have some members of the Foundation's Board of Directors present, and I would ask you to stand or hold a hand up or something so we can see where all of you are. And then I'll ask these people to stand as I call their name and ask you to hold your applause until they're all standing. But we do have some of Evan Augustein's family with us. And I'll start with Cliff Augustine, his nephew, and his wife Lois, his grandniece Kathy and her husband Jeff Henderson, grandnephew John Augustine, grandnephew Steve Augustine. If you'd welcome them to be with us today. I know that we've had, over the last 40 years, a lot of dedicated faculty working very hard in this building and just dreaming of a day like today, and then they had to go and retire before it arrived. But I'll ask all retired faculty from science and math and computer science and physics to all stand, the people that would be in this building, to please stand and be recognized. And then I would ask all the current faculty that will be working in this building to stand, and faculty and staff. We have with us the university architects, who obviously have had a lot of work to do to get not only this building, but Remington Hall and a number of other projects on campus. And I'd ask Jeff Ellison and Ron Auksher from Ellison Auksher Architects to stand so we can say hello to them. And from Lawhon Construction Company, the project superintendent, Jim Madden. I know that I've seen at least one or two, but obviously we are a public university, and then we work very closely with the city and the county. I would ask any of our city, county, state government officials that are present to stand so we can see who's here. All right. Another person that ought to be introduced individually, because he spent an entire career here, and he probably stood with that retiree group, but he was also the project shepherd for this building until he retired last spring. Professor Jerry Zwierink, who taught chemistry here and retired in the spring. Jerry, if you'd stand, and guy all the way in the back wall. Obviously, we've had a lot of opportunities to dedicate facilities here in the last couple of years, and as we even look ahead this spring, we'll have a spring sports complex, and then before school starts, a new residence hall, and as I said, the beat goes on. But it's always something kind of special when you're dedicating academic facilities at the heart of an academic institution. And so I would like to introduce and ask him to stand. First of all, the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Dr. Neighbors, Murray Neighbors, back in the back. I know Jeannie was having a problem getting here. Was Jeannie able to come? Is Jeannie Daffrin here? Our provost, Jeannie Daffrin, was planning to be here and had something come up and just absolutely could not be here this afternoon, but we were expecting her. There are 3 academic departments that will be occupying this building: biology, chemistry, and then the computer science, math, and physics department. And at this time, the 3 department chairs are going to share with us briefly their vision for where we're going with this building and what its benefits will be. They will speak in this order, and I'll just introduce them now, and then they will each come up in order. Dr. Ben Caldwell, Chair of the Chemistry Department; Dr. Ting-Shu Wang, Chair of the Computer Science, Math, and Physics Department; and Dr. Ted Ekdahl, Chair of the Biology Department.
We just want to start out a little bit here. Since we're in a classroom here, I want to let you know that we're going to have a little history lesson about this facility, and I've been told that there will be a quiz at the end, so you better be taking notes. Now, to also go into that, there are a lot of people here who look familiar. So how many people actually took courses here in Agenstein Hall? So there are quite a few of you, so welcome back. In chemistry, one of the things that we're most proud of about this new facility, both Remington and Agenstein Hall, is the laboratories, because we are a very laboratory-intensive department. And those of you who took courses here know that before the renovation, the building, as Dr. Zwering said when we first started this project, had great bones. But we were outgrowing it because the infrastructure wasn't keeping up with the technology that we now use to teach and do research. And so the laboratories that we now have are truly state-of-the-art in terms of the electrical capacity, the safety issues, and so forth. And we can truly teach in the manner that our students deserve and do projects and research with them that are truly cutting edge in all of our departments now. We've increased the teaching space from 5 to 7 labs in our one department. This may not sound like much, but as Dan was saying, we've really increased in capacity in terms of the student enrollment that we have. And this will allow us to be much more flexible in how we schedule, to work with our students, and provide them much better teaching facilities than we used to have. For our department in particular, the research that we've done in the past has always been done sort of making do with the facilities that we have. We've expanded from 500 square feet, which really could handle 3, maybe 4 students in a dedicated research space, so-called dedicated. It also doubled as a storeroom facility for lots of things that we needed. Now we have over 3,000 square feet that can support probably 12 to 16 students on a full-time basis. They won't have to carve out a space in a teaching lab and compete with the students who are taking courses, and we have to set things up and so forth. We now have dedicated research so that they can work year-round. And those are some of the things that we really, really like about this new facility. And as Dan mentioned, the equipment that we've acquired, chemistry and biology are very technology-oriented. We really have state-of-the-art, cutting-edge equipment and instrumentation that will help us not only in our own disciplines, but also support courses, because all of the students in biology are taking chemistry. And we serve the pre-nursing students as they're trying to get into that program to qualify for that. And so these facilities are going to benefit those students. Our students who are in our department have a wide variety of activities that they participate in. Some of these you may have heard of. Super Science Saturday is a project I think we're in our 11th year. We're going to be offering on February 5th, and actually is going to be here in Agenstein and Remington Hall for a change. We cooperate with the St. Joseph Museum, and our students provide hands-on activities as an outreach effort for elementary and middle school students in all of our departments. We have our students in the Alchemist Club provide a Boy Scout merit badge workshop so that they can earn merit badges in various science and technology areas that the troops and the troop leaders can't always provide because it's not their area of expertise. Another outreach effort for us. You can see a picture down here of our PIA professor effort, which was really us sacrificing a little dignity for breast cancer awareness and research fundraiser. And every year, for the past 34 years, the chemistry department has offered what we call Chemathon, where we have 400 to 500 high school students come on campus to participate in tests and activities, competitions, and we couldn't possibly do this without our students. They help make that possible. And so all of these things are ways that, or this facility is going to benefit them as well. Now, as Dan mentioned again, we are the Applied Learning University for the state. And what that means is we provide outreach, out of classroom experiences for our students. And you can see some of the companies that offer laboratory internships and opportunities for our students. And these are just a few, and the list goes on and on, especially when we get down into biology and chemistry as well. We have students who participate as laboratory assistants. And down here in this middle picture here is one of our lab assistants working with a student in our nuclear magnetic resonance facility. And so this is an opportunity for them to take what they're learning and help their fellow students. And they really know how they learn. They know where the problems that they may be having, and really helps them extend that opportunity as well. In terms of research, which is a new focus, especially for Agenstein Hall here with the new laboratories that we have, in chemistry we do research in all of the 5 major subdisciplines of inorganic, organic chemistry, analytical, physical, and biochemistry. But those can be broken down, and I just want to describe a couple of the areas that we're doing work in with our students and have been doing work in these areas. One of the new areas in chemistry integrates mathematics and computer science with chemistry. We call that computational chemistry. And we have two young faculty in our department who have expertise in this area. And students with an interest in computers and mathematics who want to learn about how we can model how certain chemical reactions and processes take place, we're building a computer server that will allow us to model certain systems, and then we'll go into the laboratory and test these experimental and see how well the experimental data measures up with the theoretical data. And this is truly a cutting-edge area and something that a lot of even larger universities aren't doing very much of. And we have 2 chemists on our staff of 8 who are in this area. We also have a new emphasis or a growing emphasis in environmental chemistry. In the center picture here, one of our students, Sammy Schmecker, who works with Dr. Shona Hiley, has one of our newest instruments called an X-ray fluorescence detector, which we're using this instrument in collaboration with some of our biology faculty and students, looking at soil and water samples to look at metals, heavy metals that may be in the environment, and looking at where you can find those. This can also be used for simple things like finding out, you've heard about heavy metals like lead and cadmium, which could be in paint and toys. This instrument can basically identify the presence of certain types of chemicals in just a few seconds. And in terms of material science, we have chemists working on new products that could be, or new processes such as biodiesel generation and materials involved with that, as well as a new class of compounds called ionic liquids, which will make chemistry greener, as they say, safer for the environment. And these chemicals also have new and interesting properties. And our students are working on these cutting-edge types of areas of research. So just to sum up, a few of our success stories. Kim Willis was a biochemistry and molecular biology major who's worked in a number of different areas, including at the water treatment plant facility here in St. Joseph as one of the directors, and is now a compliance officer with the EPA. Josh McMillan completed our forensic science program here, went on to just finished earning his Master's of Science in Forensic Science at University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and is now a forensic specialist with Kansas City Police Department. And Yevgeny Kondratenko is just a wonderful story. He was a high school exchange student from Belarus, stayed in the area to come to Missouri Western. He earned Bachelor's of Science in Chemistry, Mathematics, and a minor in Physics, and just completed last year his PhD in Chemical Engineering. Now a senior research scientist with ConocoPhillips in Houston. And these are just a few examples of our students. We could go on and talk for hours if you let us, but we need to move on. And so I'm going to introduce to you Dr. Ting-Shu Wong, who's the chair of the Computer Science, Math, and Physics Department.
Thanks, Dr. Caldwell. And let me elaborate our excitement about this new building here and in my department. We have 3 disciplines: math, computer science, and physics. And we offer bachelor degrees in mathematics, computer science, computer information systems. We also offer a professional master degree in information technology management. So, and about our classrooms here, and the chalk space is much larger than before, so we are very excited. And we can write as much as we want and then keep it, and then we can get instant reference later. So, and then we also have a corner screen, and then we can project, course material so that we can simultaneously also work with our chalk space. And there are a lot of, classroom technology. And like here you can see, and they are, up to date. So we are very excited about lab education, and it shows, the growth we have, and this really accommodates our growth. And for example, in spring 2008, and our astronomy class, we have only 3 lab sections, and this semester we have 6 lab sections. So this definitely accommodates our growth, and we need that. And about student activities, our students, have a lot of activities to participate. Here, I just to name a few. AITP, that is the acronym for the Association of Information Technology Professionals. AITP organizes student competitions every year, and our students have done very well, and since 2005. And our students ranked on the top, first place, second place, third place, and honorable mentions. And the competition is very high. Often, like 30, 50, even 100 teams to compete in one category. For example, in 2009, we have a student, Derek Spalding. He ranked third among 106 teams in PC troubleshooting, that category. So you can see competition is very high. Last year, there were 69 universities and colleges participate in AITP competition, and many are good universities. In our region, for example, Central Missouri, Southeast Missouri, and also Missouri State participated. In other adjacent states like Illinois, Northern Illinois, Southern Illinois participate in Michigan, and Central Michigan, Michigan Technology, and those universities participate. Also Tennessee State University, Appalachian State University, and Baylor University, Waco. These are some names, so you can see, and the competition is very strong. So, and we are very proud of our student performance. Another one I want to mention is the Midwest Apex project. This is a 5-year project funded by the National Science Foundation with a total budget almost $600,000. And this project, the good thing is cross the discipline between biology, chemistry, math, computer science, physics, and also engineering technology. So we collaborate together to recruit students, for scholarship. The scholarship amount ranges from $600 to almost $7,000 per year. And last year we recruited 23 students, and this year we are going to recruit 35 students. Help us, and we will be more successful. And our students also actively engaged in applied learning, and that is our mission also. And here are just some topics about applied learning my department offers. And I would like to emphasize one thing, and just published in the Winter Magazine of Missouri Western, an iPhone project. And last year, and we have students, we collaborate with Heartland Health and to develop iPhone applications. And it was successful, and we are going to do it this year again. Again, spread the word for us, and we will be more successful. Just now, Dr. Colwell mentioned about some internship, and here just another example about internship. I also want to mention about actuarial science, and our students work on actuarial science, and then some students receive internship from all state. And here are just some examples. And math students, science students, math education students, science education students also go to classroom and participate teaching practica. So they gain direct teaching experience. So these just a few examples. So our current students are successful. Our graduates continue to be successful. And I just want to mention two things here. And one, I don't know, some our teachers probably can still remember Michael Mashew, Dr. Michael Mashew. And he received a math degree in 1995 from Missouri Western. And then he went on to Missouri to get a master's degree in engineering. Then he received a PhD from UNKC. Now he works as a senior director at the engineering unit of Dean Food in Texas. And the good thing is, and just last week, we received his donation, and that donated to our department general fund. So we are very happy. And also, he is successful. He mentioned that he just received a patent in engineering. So, and he is a good example. And I also want to mention about our class of 2010 last year. And then here just some pictures of our graduates. And after they finish our program, they continue on. Some students went to, continue on to graduate school. And we have one student, all those go to graduate school receive teaching assistantships. And we have one student went to University of Kansas last year. And we have another student went to University of Louisville. And then we also have student went to Missouri State. And also, which one I did not mention, Missouri State, Louisville, UMKC, and University of Kansas. Thank you. So, and then we also our graduates also, now they go to Virginia, works at National Security Association. We also, another student, works at Boehringer Ingelheim. So there are quite a few examples. So in the past or in the current. So we are very proud of our programs, and we continue to offer strong programs for our students. Let me invite Dr. Adekal to talk about his department.
Thanks, Ting-Shu. So in the biology department, we offer programs for majors that span the gambit from teacher education to botany, zoology, biochemistry, molecular biology, which we administer jointly with the chemistry department, biotechnology, and wildlife conservation and management. And we have a strong commitment to our majors, but we also have a strong commitment, as is true in the other two departments, to students who aren't majoring in science or math. In our department, we have a large contingent of Biology 101 students. We have students in geology. There are students in chemistry, physics, astronomy, and these comprise the general studies requirements for the university. All students who get a BS at Missouri Western have to take 2 science classes. So students end up in this building one way or the other. And we take that commitment very seriously. We're about science literacy. We're about trying to get students to understand something about science, regardless of whether they're scientists as practicing professionals or not. In biology, we also have serious service commitments. We administer the PTA program, that stands for Physical Therapy Assistant, and that's a 2-year program. And we also have a serious commitment to the nursing program. Many of the classes that the students take on their way to the nursing program are in the biology department as well as the chemistry department. As Ben mentioned earlier, we're very excited about the improvement to laboratory facilities. That's naturally a very important part of science education. All of us believe that you learn science by doing science. So we're proud to be able to say that almost all of our majors and non-majors classes have a laboratory component with them. In the biology department, we have now 8 brand new or renovated labs, whereas we used to have 6, and that's a big improvement. In addition, wasn't mentioned earlier, but we have labs with windows now, which is really, really cool. So whether it's laboratory or field experiences, that's an important part of our students' education. We also appreciate the design of this room. Okay? So this room doesn't look like it used to look like. There's a new design that's intended to facilitate students working on case studies and to engage in active learning and group discussions. I myself had a class here this morning at 11 o'clock. There were 126 Biology 101 students in here, and we tried it out. So we had a little discussion, and I said, form groups of 8 to 10 and turn around to the other people at your tier and talk for 5 minutes. And then tell me what you thought of the prompt, which was, what are characteristics that comprise living things? And it seemed to work great. I should also point out that much of the design of this building is as a result of consultation with faculty and students. And so we don't take for granted that we got to have major say in how this building got put together. In biology, the student organizations that are umbrella organizations for most of the activities that our students engage in are here. We have a local chapter of what we call the Tri Beta National Biological Honor Society. We have a pre-professional club. Students in our pre-professional areas boast an 85 to 90% acceptance rate into professional schools like dental and veterinary and medical. We're very proud of our student chapter of the Wildlife Society. These students have won an award as the outstanding chapter of the year for the North Central section. Matter of fact, during finals week this last fall, 2 of our students traveled in a blizzard to Minneapolis, Minnesota to accept their award and made it back safely. Applied learning in our department translates, as it does in chemistry, primarily to internships that students engage in and to research with faculty. Ben talked about internships that students in the bench sciences, as we call them, do in the area community. But we also have internships that students are required to do for the BS in Conservation and Management. For this, we rely on a close association with the Regional Office of the Missouri Department of Conservation here on campus. We have a very good relationship with the Natural Resources Department and the Fish and Wildlife Service and agencies well beyond Missouri. Research with faculty in our department is a strong tradition. It's always been a tradition throughout this building, as a matter of fact. And a similar story can be told for biology, as was told for chemistry. We were trying to do research in a way that had to carve out space and had to share space with teaching facilities. I noticed earlier that there was a approximately 6-fold increase in the space that's dedicated to chemistry research, and the same turns out to be true for biology. We had 600 square feet of dedicated research space. We now have 3,600 square feet of research space for faculty-student collaborations. We're also proud of the accomplishments of our students engaging in research. One measure of the quality of that research is our students going off to give presentations at regional and state and national, even international meetings. 80 students have presented in the past 5 years. Our students have also been co-authors on peer-reviewed professional publications. So there's quite a lot of diversity of research topics that occur in biology. I won't go through all of them, but we have 11 faculty in our department, and we cover a pretty good breadth of disciplines in biology. So cave ecology research happens in our department, and students have the unique opportunity to engage in cave ecology research. For example, Dr. Dave Ashley and his students contributed to data that made the Tumbling Creek cave snail a federally listed endangered species, and that was a very important contribution. We now have the capability to do paleontology research. Those are bones on the bottom there that Dr. Karen Coy and her students are looking at to try and see how the bones decompose over time, basically trying to learn how do fossils get made. We have students working with Dr. Melissa Daggett on developmental toxicology. They're studying pharmaceuticals and personal care products and trying to look at what effect those things have on early development. You might say basically they're studying birth defects in zebrafish. We have students that study field botany and ornithology. 8 students over the past 8 years have had chances to work with Dr. John Russian in conservation areas doing important plant surveys. Students in my research group have done synthetic biology work. Our students work on bacterial computers, and in collaboration with Jeff Poet, these students have done research that's been published in the Journal of Biological Engineering and have won awards at the iGEM competition. We have students working with Dr. Walton, Kristen Walton, in gastrointestinal physiology, where she and her students are able to study the effect of antibacterial compounds on the distribution of microorganisms that exists in the gut. So these and other examples show the breadth of opportunities that our students have in research, and this beautiful new facility is going to make that even more possible. So students that engage in undergraduate research have a better chance to succeed once they graduate. And these are just a couple of examples of students that I chose. Tim Pretty is one of my first research students. He happens to be right over there. Hi, Tim. Tim got a BS here. He went off and got a PhD, and now he's come full circle, and he's a research scientist at Beringer Ingelheim at Manica Incorporated here in town. He now works with some of our more recent graduates and also works with some of the students that are doing internships over at Beringer. Corey Cutterna also works with some of our current students. He's at Squaw Creek National Wildlife Refuge, and he's an assistant manager up there. He works with some of the students from the Wildlife Society on important service projects and is a very important connection to our next generation of conservation and wildlife professionals. Margie Conant here was the president of the pre-professional club when she wandered the halls of Agenstein Hall. And she is now an internal medicine practitioner in Indianapolis. So those are just a few examples of students that we're proud of. And as mentioned earlier, we have lots and lots of others. So, well, class, that's today's history lesson. I did notice there wasn't a lot of note-taking. But this is a history of our departments providing opportunities for our students. It's a history of our students taking full advantage of those opportunities and succeeding in ways that make us very, very proud. But with this beautiful new building, we promise to repeat history, all right? And so what we're promised to do with these facilities is to continue to provide opportunities for students and to provide education for tomorrow's chemists and mathematicians and physicists and mathematicians and computer scientists and health professionals and science literate citizens in a general sense. Thank you very much.
You know, trying to make sure I did my job well, I met with him before the program and tried to make sure I knew how to pronounce Tingshu. I thought I had the last name down. Then I noticed I called him Wang and Dr. Caldwell called him Wong, and so if I mispronounced your name, Tingshu, I apologize.
Not to nitpick, my name was Todd.
I didn't, did I? Oh. That's all right. I tell you, you made me feel better, though, after all those terms that I couldn't say. When you called it the gut, I knew what you were talking about. One of the things that's been a part of our efforts on campus for the last year has been a focus on the outdoor campus. And as a result of that, we've entered several projects, and I might even mention a little bit more. But one of those was to try to add outdoor art to the campus. And there are some sculptures around the campus that were done by now retired Professor Jim Estes. And Jim did a special sculpture related to this building. Dr. Jason Baker, Professor of Biology, has been serving as the shepherd on this project since Jerry Zurink retired, and he'd like to come forward and make a presentation to Jim Estes.
Well, it's a privilege to be able to speak on behalf of the students and faculty and staff that call Agenstein Hall their home away from home. And many of us do, and we are really privileged to have this beautiful piece of artwork, this sculpture by distinguished professor, now emeritus, Jim Estes. This is found on the south side patio. If you, well, just go down to the second floor and look out the windows or step out onto the patio area, you'll see this beautiful sculpture made in stainless steel. We're very thankful for Jim for not only conceiving and creating this beautiful sculpture, but for handing it over to this university, for giving it to the enrichment of the students, the faculty and the staff in the sciences, here in the science and mathematics areas. I'd like to read for you briefly about this sculpture called Galileo's Vision. Jim writes the following. He says, Galileo's vision was specifically designed with aspects of Galileo Galilei's life in mind. The legs of the sculpture are tapered, in keeping with the shape of telescopes, which played such a key role in Galileo's discoveries. While Galileo did not discover the telescope, he did quickly modify it, so it was far more effective in observing the heavens. Additionally, the forms on the top of this sculpture is a fairly obvious suggestion of planetary systems and their movement. Towards the bottom of one of the legs, I've welded an upside-down cross and the parallel bar-like stripes. Galileo's discoveries challenged the religious views of his days and would ultimately turn the church and mankind's understanding of our solar system upside down. The parallel bars are symbolic of the life sentence of imprisonment he was given in his trial of Inquisition in 1633 due to his writings and teachings of Copernicus' planetary theory of the heavens as true. Because of his poor health, Galileo was never actually put in prison, but was confined to house arrest for the last 9 years of his life. I have always been interested in the movement of the stars, Jim says, and mysteries they hold. Just as fascinating are the lives of those who have discovered new truths of our universe and have had the courage and conviction to declare these new understandings to a world often reluctant to accept change in its conventional way of thinking. So, with that read, I'd like to ask Jim to step forward, and we have a commemorative plaque to give him, and I'd like to read that to you just briefly as Jim comes forward. The plaque says, the students, faculty, and staff of Agenstein Hall and Remington Hall would like to thank and honor Jim Estes, Distinguished Professor of Art, for the contribution of his sculpture, Galileo's Vision, to the enrichment of science and mathematics at Missouri Western State University. Thank you, Jim.
I'll try not to mispronounce this next name. Next to the podium will be our president, Dr. Bob Vardabedian. He's now in his third year at Western. Previously, Vice President for Academic Affairs at Eastern New Mexico, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences at Western Carolina, Head of the Department of Art and Communication and Theater at West Texas A&M, and Assistant Dean of Graduate Studies at Wichita State. We entered this year with a theme of his administration, maintaining academic excellence in times of budgetary challenges, and as I've said, the beat goes on. So I think quite successfully doing that. Some of the academic program developments during the time that Dr. Vardabedian has been here: additional graduate programs, very prestigious accreditation of the Craig School of Business, became an all-Steinway school, increasing internationalization of the university. He has overseen or is overseeing a number of physical developments of the campus: 118,000 square foot Griffin Indoor Sports Complex, Spring Sports Complex, start of a new residence hall to be completed this summer, and of course, this project that we're here to recognize today. He has a vision for more development, an expansion and renovation of Potter Hall, the Fine Arts Building, and further development of the outdoor campus. Already achieved are new building signs in front of the buildings, new fair and entrance sign, 3 additional fountains, and partial completion, 2/3 completion of an evergreen project to add 100 new evergreens to the campus landscape. We still need to get 30 more next year, and if you're interested, they're $200 each. As well as additional outdoor sculptures, and high on his priority list is an amphitheater between these buildings and the student union, where there can be outdoor lectures or entertainment, student activities, and so on. So please welcome President Vardabedian.
Well, thank you very much, Dan. In many ways, what we're about today is not just dedicating a wonderful facility, but also honoring the vision and the dedication of those who figuratively created this building. As others have indicated today, Agenstein Hall was a state-of-the-art facility and one of the original 3 buildings on this campus back in 1969. At that time, we had a little over 2,000 students on our campus. Over the years, many dedicated and caring faculty members, like Evan Agenstein, and many of those people are in the audience today, made this a place where quality education took place, where students could encounter math and science in very engaging and substantive ways. And so thank you, current faculty and retired faculty, for making that happen. But more than 40 years have passed, and as we've indicated, our enrollment has about tripled in those 40 years, and our enrollments in math science majors has more than tripled in those 40 years, and certainly technology has advanced rapidly in those 40 years. But I'm happy to say that thanks to what I consider to be a rather miraculous facelift, Agenstein Hall is once again a state-of-the-art facility. We're certainly indebted to a number of people, certainly including our past and present faculty members, but we're also indebted to the wisdom and persistence of President Emeritus Jim Scanlon, who made Agenstein Remington Hall his #1 priority for state funding. And I know Jim wanted to be here today. He's communicated to me a couple of times, but the weather made that a little bit difficult for him. Also, I'd like to acknowledge State Senator Extraordinaire Charlie Shields, who is a very important part of this journey. And Charlie also could not be with us today, but our gracious thanks to the wonderful contributions of Charlie Shields. And with funding from the state's Lewis and Clark Discovery Initiative, combined with the generous support of Wes and Patsy Remington, this project became a reality. And if Evan Agenstein were alive today, I think he would be very proud indeed of this building, and it is a thrill for us to have 6 members of his family here today with us. Professor Agenstein was a product of Northwest Missouri in the best sense of the word. Born in 1909 in Statesville, he was an important force in public education long before he arrived on our campus in 1958, where he served for 17 years in various capacities. He served as a principal and coach at Stewartsville High School, a superintendent of Stewartsville School District, and math chair at Lafayette High School in St. Joseph before joining our faculty again in 1958. The faculty at that time was the St. Joseph junior college faculty, which of course became Missouri Western, and he served admirably from 1958 to 1971. He served as our chair of what was then known as the Math and Physics Department for a number of years. He also went on to serve as the president of our Board of Regents after his retirement as a further testament to the respect that he was held in by his colleagues. This building was named in his honor when he retired in 1971. He passed away in 1988. Former athletic director Charlie Burry referred to him as, quote, an outstanding individual, a great teacher, and a quiet man of dignity who was admired by absolutely everyone. Charlie went on to say he and his wife Ethel were a wonderful team. A former student, Bob Shire, had this to say about Evan Augustine. Evan Augustine was an institution and a monument at Missouri Western long before the Science and Math building bore his name. He was perhaps the warmest, kindest, gentlest, most understanding faculty member I met on campus. He was an excellent teacher, always ready to help those who didn't quite master the intricacies of his lectures. After the building was named in his honor, Professor Augustine wrote a letter to the St. Joseph News Press stating, "For my name to be included, I trust it shall mean we will keep the magic circle of learning of Missouri Western State College inclusive rather than exclusive and differentiated rather than identical, where respect for the individual is given priority and all may learn the meaning of the words integrity, honesty, reliability, and hope." Well, thank you all very, very much for being here and helping us to keep alive President Augustine's magic circle of learning here at Missouri Western. Thank you all very much.
2, 3.
Gently flow